What's going on, boys? I got a new series coming out here with one of my good buddies from Vermont State Linden, James Salvas. It's, as we call it now, Saturdays with Salvas, talking sports and other miscellaneous things. James, how are you today, man?
Joey, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, it's always a pleasure. Me and James actually were the commentator guys for the Linden men's and women's basketball team. That was quite the ball we had there, James, in the winter, didn't we? Winter going into spring.
We sure did. That was a lot of fun, and I was really glad to have you be able to hop on with me this year.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. So, we're going to talk about, sports, mainly Boston. We're both big, obviously, Boston fans. We got a lot of things to talk about, and obviously Linden baseball, other stuff with that. We get into that a little later on. But James, what do you want to start with here? It's up to you.
I got some notes here. Why don't we start with what's going on with the Sox?
Well, it really just it comes down for me. It's the pitching staff. I think that the guys, when they get in, and especially like Giolito and Bayo, you have those guys, and they'll go out there for a 6 or 7 inning game, and then the next game they can only go 4 or 5. And you're paying these guys some big money. You paid Bayo a year or two ago, and he got a 6 year contract, and you're paying Giolito about $20 million, and he can't stay healthy or he can't stay in there for more than 5 innings. I think those two guys are a big problem to why the Red Sox can't be in these games for, especially when Crochet or Bueller isn't pitching, because those are the two big guys I think for us now. And yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
I think Houck has some issues. I think he needs to take some time to figure it out.
Yeah, you could see maybe too, like with Houck, maybe you move him to the bullpen.
Yeah.
Like with Nick Pivetta, I think that worked with him a couple years ago when he was struggling. Maybe move Houck to the bullpen, maybe move him to AAA, maybe release him. Maybe he just needs a change of scenery. Who knows? You got Richard Fitz working his way back. I think he's a good young arm for the Sox team. Um, I like what I've seen from Bueller so far, even though his ERA is a little high. He's still throwing the ball pretty well. Crochet is a stud. Um, but Giolito and Bayo need to be better,
Yeah.
and
I
so those guys need to be better.
yeah, I agree. I think that
I
it
wanted to,
really I think it comes down to that for sure.
yeah. I also think that I think all things considered, at least the last few games, the bullpen's actually been solid.
Yeah, I think ever since, people started
When
talking
Bueller got
about it.
tossed the other day.
Yeah, they really shut it down against the Mets. I think Slayton, Bernardino, even Whitlock's pitched a little bit better. Weisert's had a good year.
Wilson's
Justin,
pitched pretty well.
yeah, no complaints about those guys. It's a lot of high leverage games for him because it's either Giolito can't stay healthy or he just can't get out of the inning, or Bayo is just, the thing with Bayo is he has the stuff, he has everything. He just needs to, his mental game is the problem, and he can't. I'm not really. If you watch the documentary, and I know you did, and you just tell the guy is he can't. He gets very frustrated very easily. It seems to me, at least.
He does. Like he'll miss one pitch on the corner or have it, something outside not be called a strike, and then he just loses his mind over it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that especially it's year four. This is his fourth year, correct? Or maybe third.
Mm-hmm. Fourth,
I think
because I
it,
think he was up in 21.
yeah. My problem is this guy has been here for 4 years and he can't only throw 4 innings. Like he gave us 4 innings yesterday. Yeah, we won 19-5, but against a good team like the Yankees, the Tigers, the Guardians, the teams like that, like that's we're not going to win those games if he only goes 4 innings.
Yeah, exactly. You need to get at least five out of your starter every start, and I think Bueller was pitching well the other night when he got tossed, so I think he probably would have went five or six. Um, and I think he'll be a pretty consistent five or six guy for us. It's just, you can't be mad at Bueller for getting tossed the other day. I would have been frustrated too.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard because it was a strike, but you're coming back from an injury and the bullpen's already weak, and like doing that is not a not something you want to see from Bueller, obviously. But I do get it. I'm a pitcher, so I understand. I get it. That was a strike 100%. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's just they're so inconsistent. Like some days, even the offense has been great, but some days they'll be amazing and some days they'll be terrible. And it's, you know, getting into our next topic is Trevor Story, and that's another thing, that
Yeah,
goes into we don't know. Like my thing, I talked about this to you a couple of times. We talk usually every day, but I think at this point you just there's nothing you can do, and you need to either put him at
no.
first or release him. He's
Yeah, I mean, he's striking out a ton. I mean, it's not even that, like, if he's striking out on like competitive pitches, I could kind of live with it a little bit. But I mean, this guy's swinging at pitches that are bouncing in the dirt, and he's not even close to, hitting these pitches. I mean, yeah, he's a stud defensively and he's great, but like you brought up the other day, I don't care about the glove anymore. I want to win baseball games. And Marcelo Meyer's a stud and a beast waiting in AAA. He's ready to come up. He was ready to come up last year, and he's ready to come up. And I think he's a better hitter than Story, and he's just as good defensively. And
yeah,
so he helps us win games. And if if we're running Mayer out there and he's striking out once or twice a game, I can understand that. He's
it's a
young.
rookie.
But
Yeah.
also I could live with Mayer striking out because he's a prospect. He's at least a good young prospect that's got potential. Story's almost past his prime and a guy who can't stay healthy.
The other thing is I don't know if you watched the other night. I don't remember what game it was, but Story, there was runners on first and third. There was runners on the base, and the ground ball was hit to short. And Story looked like he was going to go to second, and then he threw it to first, and his the ball didn't come out well, and he was safe. And it could have been, it was a routine play too. And
Yeah, are you talking about on the double play?
yeah, and I think that me seeing that shows me that he has no arm strength anymore because of his shoulder. And he's already got 62 strike. He has 62 strikeouts in 194 at bats.
Really
So
bad.
he's striking out a ton, a
That's
ton.
like two. That's like two a game.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, my thing is if you're like a guy like Abreu, he's a strikeout guy, but the guy absolutely mashes when he's ready, and he's young.
Like when he's ready, he hits the baseball a ton.
Yeah, I think Abreu's a beast. I was on the train of trading him. I will say this, but only because of we didn't know what was going to happen with Anthony, and we didn't want to trade
Yeah,
Duran, but there's other things we could do with that whole situation. They need to figure something out, but I'm not
and
really sure.
obviously,
Yeah,
and obviously that's another thing too. Duran's starting to come around with the bat as well. So definitely a guy you want in your lineup every single day. Great leader for the clubhouse. Great leader for the clubhouse. Great guy. The fans love him.
I mean he's got the most triples in baseball, so
He does. He has six already.
he's yeah him. I think it's him and I forget the other guy, but he's got a lot. He's I mean and Abreu's got an arm. I mean that guy's got a hose.
He
So does
does.
Rafa. I can't even hate on Rafalia. I know Rafalia. He can't swing the bat to save his life, but you know he he throws the ball very hard from the outfield. He makes great plays, but
He
that's the only
does.
reason why I think he's in the lineup. I think that's the only reason
Yeah,
why.
for sure. I mean, but also, I mean, even in left, Duran's got a pretty decent arm out there in left.
Yeah, he's not
Like
bad.
Duran can
He's
throw.
yeah, Duran's a good. He's a good. He's just like Duran's a five tool. Like I think he could be a five tool guy one day. One year he could be a five tool guy. I think he's
He
up there.
is. He's got contact. He's got contact. He's got power. He's got speed. He's got defense.
My one worry is with Campbell.
The
I think you
power's
need to.
been down a little bit.
With Duran, yeah, I mean he'll be fine. He'll heat up. I think he's fine. But
Yeah.
Campbell's my only issue with him is that second he can't turn into double play. Like his arm he's not
Hmm.
used to it, I don't think, and I think putting him at first really helps. I think because he doesn't have to worry about, that quick twitch as much. Like you still have to do it
Hmm.
obviously with a runner on first base, less than two outs. But I think it's hard for a guy to learn how to get that down within a year or two. I think maybe if he works with Pedroia next spring training or something, but you can just tell he's a little
Yeah.
uncomfortable over there.
But also, I mean, and another thing I wanted to get into, we saw Bregman kind of tweak his leg last night. or yesterday afternoon in the game. You never want to see that, but fortunately, they said it was just quad tightness, so it sounds like it's pretty just day to day thing, which is good. I'm assuming he's going to be scratched from the lineup at least for this afternoon's game. Um, so I would imagine what we'll probably put Sogard at third base then.
Yeah, Sogart's playing third. Yep. Sogart's at third.
And what
Toro's
is and what is
Toro.
this? Rafael Devers runs out to third base. He's got his glove. He's ready to go. In the absence of Alex Bregman, Devers gets a start at third base.
Oh, looks like I didn't Narvaez is hitting fourth, I think. Guy's been a beast. Guy's been a
I like
beast.
Narvi. Big
It's been
fan
a
of
beast.
Narvi.
It's hitting 291. Yeah,
I like
I
it when he
I
hits
I
a home
think
run because we
I
can
think
say it's a
Devers.
Narvi nuke.
Yeah. I think Devers is starting to get into his own at DH though. I think he's starting to figure
He
it
is.
out.
He's really starting to figure it out.
I think
He
so,
leads all
yeah.
of baseball in RBIs. So
Yeah. Yeah,
he's
I
hitting
think
over 400 this month. He's raking.
The Sox they need to win this next three series they're playing three more against Baltimore. They play three against the Brewers, and the Brewers have been terrible this year. They need to beat Atlanta this time. They need to beat Atlanta, and then I think they go play after
New
Atlanta.
York,
Yeah, they play the
the
Yankees.
Yankees.
And they need
I mean,
that's big.
yeah.
This is a big week for them.
I mean, Joey, that's what a 10 or 12 game stretch.
Yeah, they play Yeah, it's a 10 or 12. They go on the road for a little bit. Then they play the Angels after that. And the Angels have been playing better ball as of late, but the Angels are the Angels. Like you gotta win that
They
series.
stink.
And then you go to New
I mean,
York.
Joey, I think so. I mean, I think at very worst case, we got to take 3 out of 4 from Baltimore because they suck,
Yeah, they're
and we
terrible.
got to take the series from Milwaukee, and we got to take the series from the Yanks and the series from the Angels. So we got to win each of these next 4 series.
And then after that we play Tampa and then we play the Yankees again. So
So some
it's
big division games coming up, and
and
I
then they
think the
go
Rays suck too, quite frankly. But
Yeah, I mean we can beat them,
I
but
mean, they're okay, but
we can beat them, I think.
they're never
We,
like awful.
no, they're always going to be competing.
Kevin Cash is a good manager, so.
Yeah, they got good pitching. Their hitting is terrible. I
And
don't
and speaking of that, Joey,
Go ahead.
yeah. Well, that was the next thing I wanted to get into. Speaking of managing, is Cora the problem
I think he's
or
a part
part
of
of the
it.
problem?
I think he's a part of it. I think he definitely there's some things going on in the clubhouse that we have no idea what's going that he has I think he has some issues. And I think it has to do with Devers. Him like the whole Devers thing and I think they're starting to figure it out, but the whole Devers thing and the third base and Bregman and how like they handled that with him and then Devers not wanting to do the media, talk about playing first, talk about being a DH. I think Devers is really upset right now and I think he's being a little selfish, but at the same time, it's like you didn't put this situation in the right way at all. But
No.
Devers is not being a leader, in my opinion. I think Cora is handling that
Hmm.
not great. I think he needs to figure that out with him. But I mean, it's not all his fault. I mean, it's everybody. I
Yeah.
mean, they all got to figure like My problem is Sam Kennedy and John Henry go to Kansas City, and that's rare because the owner never goes on the road trips. You know that from Moneyball,
Yeah. The owner. Yeah.
and you knew
Never
that,
go
and
on
you
the
knew
road
that,
trip.
and you knew that Kansas City trip was all about Rafael Devers, and they said, oh, it's about the team, like the what, like giving them an update on what the expectations are. Like, come on, we all know
And
that's
then I
just
saw a report saying they were going to talk to Devers. Like,
they that's all they were talking about, and that's how it is. I mean, they needed to do that because now he's playing well, but. You'd like your best player, you're paying $28 million a year to play first base. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal, but they also did a terrible job with the communication, I think. The Red Sox did. I don't know what's going on, honestly.
they did.
They did a terrible, like Devers is not being a good teammate and they're not being a good ownership right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think Devers is starting to figure it out a little bit, and I think the relationship is starting to get better, especially because I think it's also because Devers is starting to hit the ball. But
Yeah.
like I knew Devers was going to figure it out eventually because I'm like he's too good of a hitter not to.
Yeah, I agree. Devers is a great player. He's one of the best hitters in the last 4 or 5 years, so
Yeah,
I,
I
I
mean,
I think the
you also
Sox.
got to think.
Go ahead. You hear me?
Yeah, I was gonna say you also got to think like, yep. I was gonna say you also got to think with Devers too. Like, he's the only one on that team that still has a ring, you know, or that has a ring. Like, he's the only one in that clubhouse that has a ring, and that knows what that experience is like, and has that deep like playoff experience. So like, you kind of gotta lean on him for that a little bit as well.
Yeah, I mean him and Bregman are the only ones with him and Bregman, and there's probably one other guy, but I'm not
Oh, I
sure.
forgot about Bregman.
Yeah, and that's why they brought him in leadership. But there's they'll be all right. I think the Sox are in a
And
good.
Bragy's got 2 rings.
He does. Yeah, I think the Sox are in a good spot right now. We'll see how that goes with them. So, Salvas, what do you think of
Yeah.
the Pats right now? What's your outlook for the season? Uh, give me your like do you think Rabel's going to turn the team around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think Vrabel was a great hire. I think we've got a lot of really good young talent on this team. I think we had a good draft. I think we went out and got people in positions of need. And I think the Patriots are going to be on the up and up again. And I think we're going to be a competitive team this year. I'd say best case for us, just because we have the second easiest schedule in football. I think we could legitimately win between 7 and 10 games.
I think if they get 8 or more wins, that would be a great season.
I do too.
I think they could win 11 games, but they have to play really good football.
Yes, and I think Drake May is going to be pretty damn good. I think he's got potential to be good. I think we saw it last year. He can run, he can throw.
Yeah,
Like,
and the
he can
defense and
kind
the
of do it all
defense
out
got
there.
the defense is very physical. The defense is going to be a very I still think the defense is going to carry us in these games. They're
I
they're
agree.
much better. They're much better operating offense or operating team operating than the defense. I mean the offense. The offense is still I think at least a couple years away. I think Drake
Yeah,
obviously still progressing. You got Trayvon Henderson in the draft. You got Kyle Williams from Washington State. You got Will Campbell now. Um, you got Jared Wilson, the center from Georgia. I
Stephon Diggs.
Diggs is a big. It's big with Pop and Williams and Kendrick Bourne. Mac Hollins gonna be a really big guy for us. Red zone threat from
He
the
is.
Bills. Red zone
Yep, red
threat from
zone
the
threat can
Bills.
go up and get it.
Yeah, I think the defense is obviously amazing. They got Tavai, Spillane, Harold Landry from the Titans is a big dude. Barmore, and
Hmm.
then Williams, um, Duggar, Carlton Davis, Peppers, Gonzo, and Marcus Jones. Like that's gonna help us a lot.
It
Keon
is.
too.
Yeah, I think the big thing too with Drake May is I think our offensive line got better as well, so he's not going to get popped as soon as he picks his head up. He'll
Yeah,
actually have time to like make a read and make a good throw or hand it off or run or whatever. He'll have time to make more decisions when he's on the field.
yeah, I agree. I think the Pats could go 10-7. I think that's my prediction. I think we'll
Yeah,
go
I
we'll,
think
we'll do
that's
our
pretty
prediction.
realistic.
I think in August we can do a prediction just because it's not really the off season's still on. I think we're still a little too
Hmm.
early to do an actual prediction or not.
I got to
Um,
see at least a preseason game first, really, to kind of see where we're at.
yeah, we can wait till, like August whenever they do that little preseason game and they play Brian Hoyer or whoever the Josh Dobbs the backup. So, we'll see. We'll see with the Pats. The Pats looking good.
Yeah.
So,
A
Salvas,
lot of people were saying,
what's up?
yeah. Say, like, one of my friends was saying the other day with Drake May at mini camp or whatever, he threw friggin' 4 interceptions and 9 throws. And I'm like, I don't care. It's May.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care if he threw 10 interceptions on 10 throws. It's May.
Yeah, it doesn't matter right now. It's just about development. The offense
Like,
is
I
always
don't
going to be
care.
the offense is always going to be behind the defense. The offense
Oh, for sure.
until the offense gets settled in with McDaniels, and McDaniels is going to be a big key for them this year. I think he's really going to help make
He is.
Drake with like the play calling. Like he's going to be the one calling the plays like for real now. Like he's going to be a big boy now.
Yeah.
He's not going to It's not going to be just like, okay, I'm going to have you do this, this, and that, and then you go in the huddle. Like you're not worried about anything.
Like he can make the decisions.
Yeah.
And
So Salvas, what do you got for you know, Hornet baseball? You know, what are your thoughts on this past season, and what are you expecting, moving forward for the Hornets to get back into the playoffs? I mean, obviously I'm
yeah,
a former player, so
you obviously see it or have saw it differently than I have. Being a part of the team for the last 4 years, Joey, and I mean I've seen Hornet baseball the last 5 years, and you've been in the I want to say the clubhouse, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
You've been around the clubhouse, you've been in the locker room, you've been in the dugout, you've been around the team, you've been on the field. So obviously you're probably going to have a different perception of it than I am. But I will say, I think one thing Curler always does is Coach Curler does a good job to bring in a lot of guys. Always make sure we have a big roster. But with that, I think it's easy for guys to become complacent because it's got to be hard when you're playing at the college level and you know that there's 36 guys on the roster and you're never going to play. Like that's
yeah,
something that's got to eat at you. You work hard at practice every single day. You're trying to bust your ass in the weight room, do everything that's asked of you, and you really don't ever get an opportunity just because there's so many other guys that are maybe older or maybe just better. So they're going to get an opportunity first and things like that. I mean, I would say some keys for the Hornets. I mean, obviously, got to get better with the pitching staff
yeah,
as a whole. You can't have just one or two guys. You got to have, be able to have guys that can come in out of the bullpen and have guys come in late in games that can shut the door. You know, like um, like you look at teams like Husson and you look at teams like they're really good teams in the conference, and they have like not only are they good hitters, they can mash the baseball, but they can also pitch. Their
yeah,
pitchers can go deep into games and strike guys out and get outs in key situations and don't have to get yanked. And they probably have 15 POs that
yeah,
can all come in and impact the game in any different way. And I know it's hard. It's Linden. Not a lot of people really want to come play in Lyndonville, Vermont. But I mean, I think you would beg to differ. You came from Tampa.
yeah. I think that most of it, honestly, I think that the mindset shifts when you get into a conference game because we played against better teams out of conference. We played against
Mm-hmm.
Middlebury, um,
Beat them.
Fisher. We played against uh who else did we play against? I think we played against Plymouth State. I don't know if they're better than anybody we
Yeah, you
played against.
did.
They're probably better than a few teams in our conference.
Norwich,
Norwich, yeah, we played against them. We played against
Castleton.
yeah, we didn't beat Castleton each time. We lost both games to them. But what I'm trying to say is, it seemed to me from my perspective that most of the time it was everybody was very loose in those games, and like there's no worrying and there's no like pressure. But when we played against Husson, Thomas, even Umpy, like um, who's the team? Farmington. Like teams like that, Leslie, like
Mm-hmm.
those games, like we made those games like life or death. And I get it, they're important, but guys just weren't swinging the bats well. We weren't winning the inning. We were losing every inning. That's the key to baseball. You got to take care of the baseball and you got to win
It
the inning.
is.
You got to win the inning. If you don't win at every inning, you're not gonna, you have like, there's not a chance, there's a chance you can win, but it's a lot less, you know,
It's like
and
it's the same as I would tell you in basketball, Joey. In basketball, you want to win every 4 minutes.
yeah,
At least in terms of when you play D1 games or when you play in the conference playoffs, they do it in a media style format. So you have a timeout every 4 minutes, and so in those in those games, you want to win every 4 minute segment. And it's the same in real basketball, or even if you're not in a media format, you want to win every 4 minute segment. And basketball is a game of runs. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
yep,
Like I see teams come back down 25 and win games all the time.
yep. I think that it's and the thing is you got to start early. Like we didn't start
Mm-hmm.
early this year. We started late. Like I remember we were losing 15-3 to Leslie in our first game against them, and we scored 7 runs in the eighth inning or ninth inning. And you're like, where was this 3 or 4 innings ago? And it's because there's no pressure now. Like the
Yeah,
game, everybody's like, oh, it's already over.
Yeah, and like you can't think like that. You know what I mean? Like you got to be positive, regardless. And I want to say, it's been a good year I do want to preface this by saying, it was a good year for Linden baseball. They won the most games in a season since I've been there. So uh, it's unfortunate that they couldn't. You guys couldn't get a shake at the playoffs, and we couldn't really get to see what Joe Throws could do in the playoffs. You know, not punching guys out on the mound, but yeah, I mean that's a big thing too. You gotta come into every game with the same mindset. Every
Yeah.
game matters. It shouldn't just be conference games.
Yeah.
Every game matters. Obviously, conference games matter more because those are what determine whether you make the playoffs or not. But like, you got to come into every game with the same mindset.
My thing is, it's not even the coaching staff. It's like the players, like the guys that aren't
Yeah.
getting the chances. Like if you're getting in the game in a non-conference, that's your conference game. Like that's your chance to show like the coaching staff like you're better than the guy they're playing in the conference game. Like
Hmm.
you have to have that mindset. Like I should be in there right now. Like on the weekend, and when you're not playing, you're just sitting on the bench cheering for your team. And it
Yeah.
sucks. I get it. It sucks. But at the end of the day, like if you don't treat everything the same, you're never going to be good in the game. That goes for anything, though.
Yeah.
That goes for basketball, any sport, you know?
Exactly. And the thing is too is like if you're not playing too, you can't just friggin' pout about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you gotta like you can't just pout about it. You gotta like actually go do something about it and try and like, prove to the coaches, okay, why me? Why me? Like
Yeah.
go prove to them why you're better than them.
It's a
You
fixed, you
gotta
can't have a
have
fixed mindset.
exactly. You gotta be very open minded in baseball, especially. And you gotta have a dog in you at some point. You just
Yeah.
gotta have that dog in you and you gotta have that willingness to work. And I hate to, bring up you in particular, Joey, but I'll use you as an example.
Yeah.
Like you pitched one time last year.
Yep.
One time. You had one appearance the entire season, and you guys play like 40 games, and you
Yep.
pitched one time.
Yep.
But did you complain about it? No. You didn't complain one time that you weren't pitching. You picked your teammates up. You were a great leader. You went to the free and you went to work. You started taking bullpen, you were taking bullpen seriously, really meticulating. You're a very, I don't want to say mental person, but you have a very high IQ for the game, so you really analyze things. And
Yeah.
so you, went to the bullpens and were trying to figure out, okay, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do better? You really started grinding in the weight room to get stronger and, add a little zip on your fastball, which you did.
Yeah.
And, but it's not just you, but it's people need to have your type of mindset. Like you could have been pissed off. I probably would have been pissed off if I only played, pitched one appearance all year, and especially if I'm somebody who thinks I can help the team.
Yeah.
And I know you're that type of person, but you didn't complain about it. You were a good teammate. You did what any good teammate would do in person in that situation. They went to fucking work and they didn't complain about it.
Yeah, and it's you can feel like my mindset was is I used to be like that. I used to everybody if you can't admit something then it's nothing's gonna change. And I used to be very a fixed mindset, like why me? Why can't I pitch? Why am I not that guy? And it's like, what is that gonna do for you? Like you're not being honest with yourself. Like that's the biggest thing. Being honest helped me immensely in every shape of my life. If you're not honest, there's no like if you're just lying to yourself and making yourself feel better, it's like that's what a lot of guys in baseball do. They lie to themselves to make them feel better. And when you make yourself feel better
Exactly.
and you don't go out there and perform, you're like, well, that didn't work, so what's gonna work now? It's all about how you do anything is how you do everything. And Curler said that straight up. And I didn't obviously I was when I was younger, I was like, I didn't think about that. I was just thinking about throwing the ball 100 miles an hour. But I think that that's the biggest thing for me. And yeah, I mean it's all good. I mean we I wanted to win this year, and I use that mindset like, oh, you didn't throw me. I'm just gonna show you why you should have used me all last year, or the year before. Like that's what I used. And if players use that more to their advantage, oh,
Hmm.
we'd be in the D3 World Series right now.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, Joey, it's not for lack of talent. There's plenty of talent on the teams. They just don't have the mindset to be good. They don't have
Yeah,
a
and
winner's mindset.
you don't want it. If
And
you
and
don't
I
want it,
talked
then
to
yeah,
and I talked to the people on other teams about this. I said that's the problem with Linden Athletics. I love I'm always going to be a supporter of Linden Athletics. I'm always going to be a fan of Linden Athletics and everything Linden. But there's just not enough people that have a dog mentality and have
Yeah.
a winner's mindset. If you don't take practice as seriously as you take games, then why the fuck are you here?
Yeah.
You have like you got to practice how you play,
Yep.
especially like. And I hate to knock my boy Quinn here because I love him, but with soccer, I've talked to Quinn and other people at Linden about this a lot. Um, with soccer, like in pickup, like sometimes they would just be messing around, like when we would just play pickup in the gym, and I'm like what are we doing? Like this is a waste of my time.
Yeah.
Like I'm not coming here. Like I'm not coming here for people not to work hard. Like I go to practice and bust my ass every single time I'm on the field and practice as hard as I possibly can every single time I'm on the field
Yeah.
because you got to have that mentality. If you want to win, you got to do that.
Yeah.
So what if a guy gets tripped at practice? So what if a guy gets a little banged up at a practice here and there? Who cares? They want to win. They're playing hard. They're trying to make guys tougher.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about the mental game. Like, are you there to just be there? Are you just trying to get through the practice, or are you trying to get something out of the practice? There's a difference, you know. Getting through the
Yeah,
practice means you're trying to get it over with. You don't want to be there, or getting something out of it is like, you're trying to figure out something. Like you learn something. Like learning is so
yeah,
important. Learning
it
is the
is.
biggest thing that comes with success. Learning something, learning failure is not failure. Failure is growth. You're growing as a person.
Yes.
And like you said, Linden Athletics, there's not a lot of people that think that failure is growing. They think failure is failure, and they're like, okay, we're done, you know?
And they're just like, oh well, we're just a part of more failure here.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to right the ship and try and make it from a failure to a success, you know,
Yeah.
they're just like, oh, it's a failure, so we might as well just keep being a failure.
What do you think of Matt Doherty making his seventh year coming in next year? Do you think that's gonna help the team out?
I mean, you want to talk about a Linden lifer right there. I mean, a lot of people call me a Linden lifer, but no, that guy Doherty is legitimately a Linden lifer. Has he even got a degree yet?
Yeah, he's got his bachelor's degree, I think.
Jesus, how long does it take you to finish a master's degree, buddy? Some
Yeah,
people are finishing these things in a year.
yeah, he's got the most homers in Linden history, folks, and he's making his seventh year. You know, hope for the best for the guy.
Me too. He's a good guy. He really is. But I will say, I think it depends on the situation. If Doherty's DHing and he's locked in, he's had some good seasons. He's had seasons where he's hit over 280 and hit the ball well, but he's also had seasons where he's hit it under the Mendoza line. So,
Yeah, it's
you know,
it's all a mindset thing with him.
it is.
What do you think
I
about
just didn't
Carlos
like.
Rodriguez? Too also making his fifth year. I think that's big for the
Oh,
Hornets.
C-Rod's had another 4 to 5 miles an hour on his fastball. I guarantee it. Look at Chris Sale. He's throwing harder now after Tommy John than he was pre Tommy John.
Yeah, I think
Like that guy
C-Rod
came back
really
after
good.
Tommy John and won a Cy Young. So Tommy John actually makes some people perform better after it.
Yeah, and Carlos, I think he's the guy that they need. He's a leader. He's gonna work hard. He's gonna push guys. He's not a talkative guy. He's more of a doer. And maybe that's better for some guys because people that do something and don't talk about it means that they're just putting in the
Mm-hmm.
work and they're not worried about anything else. And he's gonna go in there and he's gonna work his ass off and he's gonna play the best brand of
Exactly.
baseball he can. And he's gonna get the Hornets back on top.
Exactly. He's got guys. He's got teammates like Matt Gagno and Nathan Bigelow to do the talking.
Yeah, Nate Bigelow, Matt Gagne, they got a bunch of young guys. They're gonna be young next year, but they're gonna
Yeah.
figure it out. They're gonna figure out. We don't know what's going on right now. Obviously, with there's some things. Someone told me the other day. That we'll see how it goes with the guys that are supposed to come back for the fall, but we don't. I don't know how
Hmm.
many guys are coming back so far. So
Yeah. You
we'll see.
really never know. It's just kind of you got to wait till the fall gets there type of thing. And it's the same with basketball. You can have guys commit all you want, but you really never know who's going to be there until they get there in the fall.
Yeah, it's like you're waiting to see what's going on.
Hmm.
You're not really sure what's the plan.
Um, I wanted to ask you, Joey, what do you think the Hornets are going to need to do to get to a level to compete, losing, I would say arguably their two best players in Evan Duncan and Jack Holly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Obviously I'm not going to speak for them, so I don't know. I'm not totally 100% on them. I think, but if, there's a chance they could go, and there's probably a good shot that they're not coming back. And I think that the biggest thing is they're losing two guys that are competitors, and they're losing two guys that
Hmm.
work.
Definitely.
Like Evan Duncan is probably one of the best baseball players I've ever seen in Linden. He is a
Definitely.
he swings the bat. He can swing, he can run, he can field. He strikes out a little bit, but I mean, he gets on base and he hits the ball hard, and he's fast. He's a great player, and
He's a five-tool player.
they're losing that, and they're losing that. And so, it's going to be tough, but they got to develop some guys in the outfield, that they have to find someone that can run. They have to find someone that can, do all these things, and it takes time. And then they
Hmm.
lose Jack Holly. They lose a guy who's a bulldog on the mound. He's going to go in there and he's going to go right after you. He's going to go in the weight room and he's going to push guys. He's going to be very vocal about what he does. And that's a guy that you want on your team. And I think that they need to find someone that's like they have Carlos, they have Nate, um, you
Van
know,
Gunny.
yeah, they have Gani, but but they're losing that dog mentality on the mound that's gonna rip it through your face as hard as he can, and he's gonna do the best he
Hmm.
can to win. And he has a great mindset. He's a great dude. He's got a great attitude, and the Hornets need to find a guy that's gonna help them in every aspect of what I just said about Jack. And
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
and it's all about like who's helping these guys. It's the community around them. And if you have a guy like Nate Stewart who's helping them out, then that's gonna really benefit. They're gonna and Curler, same thing. Like those two, they're gonna really help them out, I think.
Yeah,
Steven,
for sure.
Trisha, TJ, like those
Yeah,
guys,
definitely.
those guys are gonna if they can, work with guys' swings and fix their inefficiencies and work with them on defense. Like TJ, one of the like a great defender. He was there for 6 years. The guy's the best shortstop Linden's ever seen. Steve, great
For
defender at
sure.
first base. Obviously he had power to him, so he's going to help out with the power. And Curler's got
Hmm.
two national championships or two NAC championships, so he's got this stuff under control. And I think that if they can really buy in, if every single player buys in, they're going to be better next year.
Yeah.
It just
And the
depends.
hmm and that's more what I was getting at. I wanted to hear not anything, against Evan and Jack, just kind of, more so, losing great people and great leaders to the team. And so, you got to find it's time for somebody else to step up,
Yeah, that's just
basically.
how it is. That's just how it is. At the end of the day, like, yeah, it sucks they're gone, but it's over. Like you can't live in the past, and you got to stay right in the moment. And I think that's the biggest thing for the Hornets to do.
Exactly. And I think Curler's got a good game plan. So,
Yeah, he's figuring it out. He's got it worked out. I'm a little worried, not worried. I'm a little concerned about the 24 conference games. The midweek games and all that. That's going to be
but
tough, I think.
unfortunately, we don't control that. Like, the NAC schedules those games, so we have no control over conference games and when they are.
That's true. I think those games are gonna. I think that having a midweek game for conference is gonna be very. It's gonna be. It's gonna. They're gonna get pushed, but they're gonna. If it could help them, it could help,
Yeah.
but it depends on how it. Like I said, it depends on the community. It depends on how the team meshes together.
Yep. But also, with that being said, if you got midweek games and stuff, you got to be locked in the classroom because you can be
Yeah.
as good a team as you want, but if you lose your best guys because they're dinguses in the classroom, you gotta,
Yeah.
be locked in.
Yeah. It's what you do. It's how you do anything is how you do everything. You got to
Hmm.
stay locked in for everything you're doing, whether it's the school, baseball, nutrition, lifting,